Are there any good brown characters on film and TV?
His name is Raj Kumar Patel Singh because those are the only Indian names we know. He has a strong Indian accent even though he was born in California. His dad works at a gas station, and his mom is a doctor. His favorite hobby is calculus.
I know how Asians or Indians or Punjabis are represented.
Yeah.
Like, let's go to The Simpsons. The Indian in The Simpsons is the joke, man.
Apu, yeah.
Apu, that's it. And like, when you look at these different Big Bang Theory, the Indian is the joker.
The nerd,
You get me?
yeah.
There's very stereotypes there. And what that creates is unconscious biases. So that creates people to naturally look at that person and be like, I ain't gonna get on with this person.
So what does Baljeet, Ravi, and Raj from the Big Bang Theory all have in common? You guessed it, today we're going to talk about the tokenization and desexualization of South Asian men in media, and how media tropes like this are so pervasive that they affect South Asians in real life. So let's get into it. Firstly, I want to get into the fact that in these shows, this is like their only ethnic friend, and that all of these characters are there for like intense comedic relief. I feel like Indian people in our culture being like so made fun of and trivialized in media makes people trivialize our problems in real life, further magnifying like the issues with the model minority myth. But I think it's crazy that so many people don't know that South Asians are the victim of so many hate crimes in America and are the main victims for xenophobic hate crimes in America. But also this trope of always presenting them as foreigners and not as American citizens are really harmful to South Asians who are like American citizens and trying to help us find our footing and placement as like either first gens or even like third gens.
Okay, so it's not really a secret that brown characters in film and TV are usually cringe and they're a stereotype. Whether it's the exaggerated annoying accent or the fact that the character is usually an absolute joke and is a pathetic side character. More often than not, brown characters on film and TV set us all the way back to the Indus Valley civilization, and they usually aren't representative of the average brown person in 2025. But within the community, we've known this. I mean, there have been video essays, think pieces, articles. People have even written PhD level dissertations on how whack brown characters are in film and TV. And based on the evidence and what a lot of us saw on TV growing up, it makes sense. I mean, the usual suspects that come up are obviously Raj from the Big Bang Theory, Baljeet from Phineas and Ferb, and Ravi from Jesse. You know, the fantastic three of setting your own people back. But no one's really taken a look at the other side and taken a look at the brown characters who aren't weirdos or who aren't nerds. I mean, maybe it's not all doom and gloom out here. Maybe there's actually some normal brown characters in films which we've been ignoring because we've all been blinded by this poor rep. So that's why in today's video, we are going to be looking at some of the South Asian characters within film and TV who weren't cringe to watch on screen and actually represented our community well. Now, I can already tell that this video probably won't get as many views as the previous ones because I'm not focusing on some controversial topic or anything that's even trending. But I feel like this video needs to be made because I think it's good to talk about something else within the community other than the usual doom and gloom. Because let's be honest, we're probably going to be talking about that more as the year goes on, especially with what's already been going on at the start of the year. But 2025, let's start with some positive and good vibes. And to be honest, I feel like I've been talking about the plight of the Browns too much recently and I was getting kind of bored, so I thought let's switch it up. But that's why I need you guys to run up the likes on this video and subscribe, because we're literally close to 10k and I got a banger deep dive video loading on a certain situation back in 2018 once we hit that. Also, if this video does well, then I'm going to be dropping a part 2 to this video straight after, so stay tuned. Now, when I first posed the question about who the best brown character you guys have seen was, there was one answer that kept on popping up more than others, and that was Kumar Patel from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Now, I already know that some people might be rolling their eyes because they don't like this character at all, or they don't like this movie at all. Whereas some people love Kumar and they treat him like he's some sort of icon, and that his character should be celebrated. And even when I first saw his name being mentioned, I was skeptical because I watched this film years ago, and even though I did like it, I didn't remember Kumar sticking out as some form of positive representation, and I couldn't really see why people were hyping him up so much. But upon a rewatch of this film, I think there are a few reasons why people like this character so much. But if you haven't seen this film, then Harold and Kumar follows the story of two Asian American men, Harold Chu and Kumar Patel, taking a certain recreational substance, which I don't know if I can say on YouTube, so I'm just going to call it magic. But the story follows Harold and Kumar taking magic and and then going on a quest to go to White Castle so that they can fulfill one of the symptoms of magic, which is the munchies. Now this is a film in the genre of stoner comedies, and there were quite a few of these at the time in 2004. And what was significant about Kumar's character, and one of the reasons why I think he was so loved, was because Kumar was one of the first Indian characters on the big screen who didn't have that stereotypical Indian accent like Apu. In fact, I found this one thread on r/ABC Dersies asking who the first characters were on TV who didn't have that type of Indian accent. And if you read the replies, then the majority will say Kal Penn. And Kal Penn is of course the actor who plays Kumar in this film. So for a lot of people, they viewed that as a positive because there was finally someone who sounded like them playing an Indian American character. And another reason why Kumar is loved is because even though he is a nerd and is smart, which can be seen as a stereotype, he's also a character who rebels against his parents and doesn't take the view of becoming a doctor, and he even rejects his father's call to go to medical school. I mean, him taking magic is surprising enough, because I'm going to take a guess and say that most Desi parents would frown upon their children taking magic, but clearly Kumar goes against that, and people said that seeing that in a film was eye-opening for them, that a brown character was able to do their own thing and didn't abide by their parents' law. And I think the third reason why people love this film so much is because it showed solidarity between the East Asian and South Asian community through Harold and Kumar's friendship throughout the film. In America and in the UK to a certain extent, the East Asian and South Asian communities are aligned in some ways due to the common struggles like the pressure of immigrant parents and doing well in school. So seeing these two characters bond and go on this type of adventure was wholesome in a way for most people. And even today in 2025, this relationship is still relevant. Now, do I think that Kumar is a character that sets us forward in terms of representation? On the most part, I would say yes, for the reasons that I've mentioned. But I want to know what you guys think and whether or not Kumar is a significant character to you. So let me know in the comment section below. The next film that I want to talk about is Four Lions, with the main lead being British Pakistani actor Riz Ahmed. Now technically this isn't a brown film and it doesn't necessarily focus on representing Desi culture because it represents something much bigger and deeper, but it's a film that a lot of brown people, especially from the UK, will have most likely seen, and it's also one of Riz Ahmed's biggest films. And when you think about brown actors, then his name will undoubtedly come up in the conversation. Now in the UK, this film is a generational classic, and if we're talking about films to come primarily out of the UK, then this might be one of our best exports. But the film Four Lions is a dark comedy which focuses on four religious fundamentalists in Sheffield that are trying to plan an attack. Now when I tell you that one of the main themes of this film is religious extremism, and then I tell you that the genre of this film is comedy, then I already know that a lot of you would be confused. But trust me, the way in which this film handles a topic which is both dark and disturbing and manages to make it funny needs to be talked about more. Now I'm not Pakistani or Muslim, but based on the areas which I've lived in the UK and just general life experiences, I'm definitely familiar with the culture, and I think that layer of familiarity that I had just made this film even funnier for me. I mean, you got scenes where guys are getting cursed out in Urdu and it makes for one of the funniest scenes in the film. And I think this film's biggest strength is its dialogue, and the amount of one-liners that have come out from this film is insane. And also the fact that even after almost 15 years since this film's release, some of the dialogue is still relevant today. In particular, this line here about boycotting, which I'm going to put on screen. I mean, you can clearly see that this film is ahead of its time. And while some of the elements of this film are funny and hilarious, the film is also very poignant, and the film does get dark at certain points. And in particular with Riz Ahmed's character, who is a religious fundamentalist who wants to plan an attack. Obviously, you shouldn't feel any type of way about him, but his character is almost humanized in a way during the course of this film, which sounds insane, but if you watch this film then you'll know what I mean. And it shows that the type of people who are involved in these types of attacks aren't just comic book villains, but they're clearly people who, due to circumstances and influence, have been radicalized in this type of way. But anyway, I feel like I can't give this film enough praise. You've probably seen some of the iconic clips from it, but yeah, go and watch this full film and you won't be disappointed. And I'd say that the timing of this film is especially significant. And I'd argue that Riz Ahmed's character in this film set British Pakistanis forward due to a wave of discrimination, which they had been facing at that time. That's why I'd say it was a film that set parts of the brown community forward. Now the final film that I want to talk about in this video is the film Yesterday. Now this film is slightly left field compared to all the other films that I've spoken about so far, but Yesterday is a film which follows the brown male protagonist Jack Malik, who's a singer-songwriter who isn't really seeing success until he gets hit by a car and wakes up in a world where no one remembers members the iconic rock band The Beatles, and it follows his journey from there. And it's actually a rom-com, and Lily James is the love interest. And I feel like that's all I need to say plot-wise. But the reason why I think Jack Malik, aside from his name, is one of the best brown characters that I've seen in a film is because of how normal he is. Now that might sound weird, but Jack Malik is just a guy who makes and has a passion for music. Like, he's literally a normal guy. He's just a chill guy, bro. And I feel like that's why a lot of people like his character, because he might be brown, but that's not his whole personality. And I already know that people in the comments are gonna be like, oh, that's a bit rich coming from you, Mr. Brown Experience, Mr. Voice of the brown community. You base your whole personality off of being brown. Now listen, believe it or not, I do have a personality outside of being brown, and so does Jack Malik, clearly. I mean, I was actually shocked when watching this film because I was just waiting for the punchline or the joke about his race. And I know it sounds sad, but when you see these cringe Indian characters all your life, it's just what you expect and what you're accustomed to. But I was very impressed at the fact that Jack is a character who's pursuing an unconventional career like music, and he actually sees some success with it. And the crazy part is, his brown parents in this film were somewhat supportive. A complete 180 from Bend It Like Beckham. And I thought that was refreshing to see, because even though there is a lot of doctor or lawyer only career culture in the community, I feel like nowadays brown parents are actually a lot more supportive of if you want to make a way outside of those careers, or if you want to pursue something creative. So I actually like that the film reflected that. But yeah, that's what I thought of Himesh Patel's character in the film yesterday. Now this film isn't some masterpiece like a Scorsese film, a Vince Gilligan TV show, or a Brown Experience YouTube video, but it is decent. I did like it. It's one of those feel-good films, and it's family friendly, so check it out if you want to. But what can we take away from the characters that I've just talked about? And going forward, what should we look for when it comes to brown representation? Now the first major point that I've noticed is that UK brown characters might be better than US brown characters. Now I know that I talked about mainly UK films in this video, but I didn't even get into the TV shows we have like Goodness Gracious Me or Man Like Mo Bean. Can't wait for season 5, by the way. But that's just a general observation that I've made. And I don't know if it's bias on my part, because obviously I'm from the UK, but the characters feel a lot more relatable over here, and they seem more realistic compared to the American ones. But in part 2 to this video, I'm definitely going to be focusing more on American Desi characters to see if that theory holds true. But when it comes to brown characters, another thing that I want to see is that these characters need to be written by brown people, please. I feel like the reason why Bend It Like Beckham was so relatable to people is because they actually had 2 Punjabi writers on that film. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't let someone brown write a brown character. I mean, I get that brown screenwriters might be hard to find because of how our culture is, but bro, I'll write a brown character and it'll probably be a lot more relatable compared to half of the things that we see now. One of the main criticisms that leading brown actress Mindy Kaling has had on some of her shows is that she doesn't have enough brown writers on her team. So half of the brown characters that she plays or are in her shows aren't relatable, or they aren't really Desi at all. And best believe Mindy Kaling is getting her comeuppance in part 2 of this video, because there is a lot to talk about with her, and I couldn't make this video series without mentioning her. But please, in 2025, can we have more brown writers or execs? And the final thing that I want to see from brown characters is for them to be a bit more normal. Like, you don't need to have brown characters who are hyper religious or shy or nerdy or have some reliance on their culture, or brown characters that are just comedic relief. Just write someone normal doing normal things and don't overthink it. And I think that this is the sentiment of a lot of minorities who see themselves being represented in Hollywood. I was talking to one of my black friends, and she was saying that she wants to see black characters in films doing normal things and having a plot which doesn't revolve around them being black. And I feel like a lot of brown people will also share that same sentiment. But yeah, that's what I think of brown characters in TV and film. I don't know if people still set like goals on YouTube in 2025, but if this video gets 1,000 likes, then I'll drop part 2 soon, and we'll look at some more non-cringe brown characters who don't set us back. And even if this video doesn't get that many likes, then I'll still drop that video anyway. Also, my bad for not uploading for like a month. Life gets in the way sometimes. It is what it is though. We keep moving forward. We keep pushing. The marathon continues. And yeah, it's TBE season. More classics on the way. But what do you guys think? Are the characters that I mentioned in this video positive brown representation? Are they negative? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Who is your favorite brown character that you've seen in a movie or a TV show? Which brown characters do you think I should talk about in part 2 of this series? Please share them and let me know in the comment section. And please share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Also, comment any topics or types of videos you guys want to see next, and please like the video to help the video's performance in the YouTube algorithm. And please also subscribe with notifications turned on, because I am going to be uploading weekly. Safe.